Let's get into the process for painting the largest mural I've painted to date inside a hair salon. And it features a line drawing woman next to the mirror that's in the entrance, and her hair is spreading throughout the salon. The salon owner had really funky style and was really excited about sprucing up this salon that's also a kind of older historic style home that has an apartment above it. So I was working on the already white walls, and it was really simple because I was just working with black paint, or so I thought. So I thought it was going to be simple, but it ended up being quite the process. But the end result was really worth it. I first had to map out the drawing on the wall, and I started by using a blue chalk that ended up leaving a blue residue that I did not want, and I didn't want to have to keep cleaning that up every time I painted a line. So I ended up going from the blue chalk to just actually freehand painting with the paint. But you'll see the blue chalk here on the initial face drawing. This was one of my first murals, and I definitely wouldn't have used the interior paint I used for this. Since I was just using black paint for this mural, I would have gone back in with golden fluid acrylic black. I would not have used the interior paint. It was kind of just not as easy to work with, and I think I actually wouldn't have had to have done 2 coats. So you're not going to see this in this mural, but I actually had to go in and do this entire mural twice because I had to do a second coat. And when you're doing line work and you have to go over line work a second time, it's super stressful and super tedious. So this mural took me probably double the time, maybe even triple the time that I thought it was going to take. So if you're new to the mural world, I definitely would encourage you to not underestimate how much time these murals are going to take you. You think you can time them based off of how you paint regular paintings, and it always takes me much longer than it would if I was just working on a canvas or a painting at home. So I'm going in with a angled square brush. It's the best brush that I found. It works for my intricate line work, and so everyone's going to be different in terms of what kind of brush you want to use. I am really just going in here and following the chalk lines, but I was really frustrated because the chalk ended up thicker than the lines, and the chalk wasn't cleaning up as much as I wanted it to. So you'll see here that I eventually just stop using the chalk lines and I just go in and start freehanding. I really have found that I tend to underestimate how well I can freehand paint. I am not a confident freehand painter until I start and until I get a rhythm going. And so once I got a rhythm going here, I really just started to map out where I was headed and felt more and more comfortable creating these lines. I did have to get inside her pedicure station, and I did have to kind of get my body into some funky positions to get the paint and the lines to go into some of the crevices and corners of the salon. But it really looked really cool because the hair actually does spread throughout the whole salon. I was not expecting to have to paint everything twice, so that was definitely not a fun realization. I thought I was going to be able to get this done with one shot. I don't know. Looking back, I'm like, I don't know why I thought that was going to be possible. So at first I was a little stressed because the lines were obviously just loose and not perfect. And I am a perfectionist. So it was hard for me to visualize and trust that they were going to come out the way I wanted them to and the thickness that she wanted them to. But you can see here that by the time I was finished in about 2.5 full days of painting, I got the hair to the thickness and to the intricacy that I wanted it to be in. I would have spent 4 more days, honestly, to make it even more perfect if I had the budget for it. But the best part was going in with the gold leaf. So you'll see I am using this blue tape for this first line, and I was basically mapping out using the tape where the line was going to go. So I was kind of using the tape as a masking tape. But in the end, I actually realized I didn't need it. And again, I could trust my own ability to just freehand paint these lines. But it did help with my confidence for this first initial golden strand that was kind of going to be the front and center of everybody's vision. But in the end, after I pulled the tape, I realized it wasn't quite as perfect as I wanted it. And I ended up going over and painting over it again and gilding it again by hand anyways, because perfectionist gonna perfection. So you can see the real time here, how slow I'm actually going. And when you see the time lapses, it looks like you're just kind of boop, boop, boop. And no. I paint very slow, very methodically, and I go go over everything 2 or 3 times to make sure it's perfect. You can see here, I wasn't even going to show this because I was like, oh, I don't want them to think that that's what my line work looks like. But you can see here, everything came out really beautifully. The owner is really excited about it, and so are her patrons. The gold leaf strand does go throughout. It's hard to catch it on the video here, but the gold catches in the light, and it goes with this kind of mid-century modern-esque vibe they've got going on in here. And overall, I am very happy with the way it came out. So lessons learned from this mural is using golden fluid acrylic paint on something like this would have probably been my best bet to get the most opaque line so I don't have to do multiple layers, and to definitely not underestimate how long these murals are going to take. But overall, it was a really fun job. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.